Previously on Davisaurus.
Woo! Yeah, baby!
I mean, it's alright, like...
Hey, that's pretty good. It's awful.
If Jim Carrey was willing to rescind his comments on retiring for this movie, we're in for some good. Just know, I'll be firmly planted in my seat, Sprite in one hand on the 20th to find out. And if y'all want, I may review the movie. But before we get into that, a few words. For one thing, I'm really happy you all enjoyed my Sonic retrospect. Thank you all so much for the nice comments and for sharing it around. If you're just now finding me and have no idea what I'm talking about, check out that video here. And for those of you returning, welcome back. I apologize for the wait, I was visiting family for the holidays. Happy New Year, by the way. All that aside, we're here now. It's time to talk about the film of the year. Bound to be the unbeatable darling of award season. This is No, I'm not even gonna waste a joke on that. This is Sonic the Hedgehog 3, a cinematic masterpiece 50 years in the making. You get it? The third and nowhere near final installment of the Sonic film franchise. And oh my lordy, people believe me when I say Jeff Fowler and his team crafted an ingenious master plan. These films are slowly transitioning away from your typical live-action CG family romp and becoming the latest and greatest cinematic epic. We started off with kinda Sonic, but now we're waist high in Okay, maybe not totally, but let's disregard Knuckles for a second. The bizarre, adventurous, high-octane, Technicolor, rodent-filled fever dream that is the Sonic universe is coming into fruition on the big screen. Sonic's always been a weird franchise, but it's the commitment to the weirdness that makes it so beloved. And I'd say this film delivers on that signature Sonic weirdness. After 50 years in stasis, Shadow the Hedgehog reawakens. Years ago, his entire world was taken from him when the laboratory he called home and his best friend Maria were stormed and destroyed by Gun. Now that he's back in action, he's out for revenge on Gun and humanity as a whole. Meanwhile, Sonic's living his best life. He's got a family, 2 best friends, a dog, and all the empty forest to run around in. But that best life's gotta be put on hold when Gun comes a-knockin'. They require the aid of Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles to apprehend the war-hungry Shadow and bring him back into custody. And they immediately get their furry butts handed to them. During a secret meeting at a Japanese restaurant, Commander Walters comes in and tells Sonic about Shadow's sad backstory. I'll spare you the intimate details, but he was discovered by Gun and brought back to their secret laboratories to be studied. During this time, he'd befriend the lead scientist's granddaughter, Maria Robotnik. If you know and love Sonic Adventure 2, you might be a little nitpicky about this retelling, but I think it's serviceable and doesn't take away from the oncoming tragedy later on. But it seems someone's been tracking down Team Sonic, and soon they find themselves back in the crosshairs of Agent Stone and a depressed Dr. Robotnik. After deducing that someone's been tampering with his egg drones to track down Sonic & Co., Robotnik begrudgingly teams up with them to find this mystery tracker and defeat Shadow. Together they find the abandoned lab and discover Robotnik's long-lost grandfather, Gerald Robotnik, alive and well. He's the last living scientist from Project Shadow with his own nefarious intentions. A doomsday device he calls the Eclipse Cannon, designed by him, built by Gun, and locked away within their compound. It requires 2 activation keys, one of which are also locked within Gun's compound. Ivo obviously betrays Team Sonic and joins up with Shadow and Gerald, and the race begins to uncover the second key and either prevent planetary devastation or face total annihilation. This is it, ladies and gents. This right here. This is the off-the-wall nonsense we've all been waiting for from these movies. Sonic 2 almost achieved this, but they also had the dance-off and that wedding subplot. There's nothing like that in Sonic 3. Nothing cuts away from the central story. Well, if you want to split hairs, maybe all of the Ivo and Gerald moments and Shadow's flashback sequences. But again, that's splitting hairs. Shadow's flashbacks help give context as to why he acts the way he does. further selling to the audience how special his relationship to Maria was, making it hurt all the more when you see how it all ended and what brought him to such a dark place. While the Robotniks, well, they're the antagonists. You want to give them as much screen time as you do the heroes. Plus, it's Jim Carrey on Jim Carrey. Why wouldn't you want to watch that? This movie even gives Ivo an interesting character arc. From movie one, he's always been about his machines, always wanting to improve them beyond their initial programming and loving them like a father, while Agent Stone was always secondary. It seemed as if, in his eyes, Stone was only his assistant and nothing more. But we see this whole new, more vulnerable side of him when he meets Gerald. It's as oddly sweet as it is hilarious, even having him reflect on the relationship between him and Stone. While we're talking about B-plots and the live-action actors, again, hats off to Jeff Fowler and the crew. Every one of the human characters are geniusly worked into the story without bringing the momentum to a halt. Even Wade got to shine. A grand adventure, a lot of heart. This movie's just a lot of fun. In fact, it felt too good to be true after first watch. I felt a multitude of emotions when I left the theater. Confusion, sorrow, excitement, and an ever-growing urge to use the bathroom. Reviews don't lie, this is the best of the Sonic movies so far. The action scenes were the best they have ever been. Like half the time, this film bordered on being a live-action anime. Sonic slowly but surely growing into the hero we know and love from the games. Growing into the leader. Shadow's character was handled brilliantly. Fittingly so, as Jeff Fowler was director and animator for the cutscenes in the Shadow the Hedgehog video game. He knows Shadow. They're practically family. I would have liked to see him a little bit more than we got of him, but you know, what can you do? I know leading up to maybe 2018, Shadow's character devolved from being a tragic and misunderstood anti-hero to just kind of an edgy, brooding a-hole. But Shadow's back in top form here. Angsty, yes, but there's so much more to him. They even gave him a snarky sense of humor.
He looks just like you.
Impossible.
You're a colorful bunch.
Keanu National Treasure Reeves understood the assignment, both consulting Jeff Fowler and doing his own research on the character. He was dedicated. Jeff was dedicated. Pat and Josh were dedicated. Everyone did amazing. This movie was amazing, but it wasn't perfect. We're not there yet. The runtime for movie 3 was 1 hour and 50 minutes, somewhat a downgrade from movie 2's 2-hour runtime, which wasn't a huge issue. They were able to accomplish so much within the 1 hour and 50-minute runtime without it ever feeling overwhelming. The issue for me lies in the pacing, for the first act anyway. It's like this. Gunn recruits Team Sonic, they confront Shadow, get their asses handed to him, regroup with Walters and learn about Shadow. Then they meet up with Stone and Robotnik. Everything after the fact is pretty evenly spaced out. It was just this section of Act 1 that felt too fast. Secondly, there were a few times where I felt Keanu's performance kinda faltered. Don't get me wrong, he did amazingly in the role, but there were just a few line deliveries I think could have used a second take. Only some, mind you. Some lines lacked emotion to me, namely during the gun infiltration flashback. Check out the fan short Project Shadow if you want to see this scene redone with a bit more emotion and a lot more game accuracy. Right here on YouTube. Back on Sonic 3, I shan't hesitate in seeing the film score this go-round has been the best in the entire trilogy. And yeah, I nearly fell out of my seat when I heard him playing Live and Learn during the movie. But, and there's always a but, the lack of music from the games in the overall score, with each passing film, is just getting more and more frustrating. Throughout the film, there are variations and remixes of Live and Learn's motif, and that's fantastic. Junkie XL was able to stretch it for all it was worth, but man, what I wouldn't give for an epic rendition of Open Your Heart, or Escape from the City, or the Knuckles theme. I was both satisfied and unsatisfied with the film score. I can recall during the audio commentary of Sonic 2, Jeff saying they kinda steered away from using the game music because he felt it wouldn't fit? Jeff, brother and hog, you're wrong. If the Super Mario Bros. Movie can do it, so can the Sonic movies. But here, dear viewer, are where my issues with the movie end. On the whole, I absolutely love Sonic 3 and I can't recommend it enough. If you haven't already, head down to your local theater with the family, with your significant other, with the homies, with your cat, with your grandmother's urn. I don't care. Witness a film they'll be talking about till the sun blows up. It's peak Sonic. Not cinema, but Sonic cinema. I was blown away so much, it's hard to imagine just how they're going to follow this one up. And if you've been following movie news or just Sonic news, you know they're cooking up a ton more. But we can discuss that later. I'll be doing a separate spoiler discussion where all the feelings come out. Very likely gonna start recording right after this one. But until I finish editing that, as of now, Sonic 3 gets a proud 9.8 out of 10 from me. It's just too good to be real. I can't wait to see what the future of this franchise holds. Just, learn from Knuckles. But what do you guys think? Have you seen Sonic 3? Have you been watching the Sonic films? What are your thoughts or feelings? Let me know in the comments. Please like the video, share it with everyone, and subscribe for more coolness to come. And come back for the spoiler discussion, because I have a lot of thoughts and feelings that I couldn't share here should you decide to see the movie yourself. Until we meet again, friend.